The text arrived while I was at work. Can't wait to celebrate tonight. Don't be late. It seemed innocent enough, a little cheerful reminder of our anniversary dinner. I smiled at it, then felt a small pang, something I couldn't quite place. Normally, she'd be texting a little more playful or flirty the way she used to. Tonight, it felt different. I try not to overthink it. After all, it was just dinner. But when I arrived at the restaurant, the first thing I noticed was how casually she was chatting with someone near the table. My stomach sank when I saw him. A man I didn't know, confident, smiling, leaning in too close. "Hey, Han," she called, spotting me. She waved, and the ease in her voice stung more than I could explain. "Everyone meet his—" She trailed off, looking straight at me with a laugh that felt like it was meant to cut me down. That pause, that sly hesitation, it was enough. My heart lurched before I even realized what was happening. I forced a polite smile, trying to push down the unease curling in my chest. But I couldn't ignore the subtle signs that had been building for weeks. Her phone always face down, her sudden need for extra time at work, the faint giggle when she received certain messages. I had questioned myself constantly, wondering if I was imagining things, overreacting, maybe even being paranoid. Dinner began, and the conversation flowed around me. I felt like an outsider in my own life. Each laugh she shared with him, each fleeting touch of her hand, felt like a betrayal wrapped in routine. I remembered the anniversaries we had celebrated in the past, the candles, the quiet jokes, the feeling that it had always been just us. Now, every memory carried a sting, a whisper that maybe it had never been entirely honest. Later, in a moment, she stepped away to check on something. I found her phone slip from her purse. A brief glance was all it took. Messages from him, months of texts, flirtations growing into arrangements, hidden meetings. Each word cut deeper than I thought possible. The realization hit me like a physical blow. She'd been seeing him, this stranger, behind my back. When she returned, I stayed silent. I didn't accuse. I didn't argue. The pain was too raw, too immediate to be expressed in words. Instead, I observed her laughter, her gestures, her casual demeanor. Everything that had once been private between us now shared with someone else. The betrayal wasn't just in the act. It was in the normalization of it, the way she could treat him as if I were invisible. I remembered every little lie I had brushed off, every subtle excuse, every moment of defensiveness she had shown. Now they all made sense, a pattern that was painful but clear. The shock wasn't only that she had cheated. It was that I had been blind, trusting, and maybe even naive enough to believe our life was unshakable. When she finally noticed my quiet withdrawal, she approached, concerned. "Are you okay?" she asked. Her voice carried that mix of worry and guilt, but I couldn't speak. How could I explain the torrent of emotions, love, grief, disbelief, anger, that were crashing through me at once? I realized then that confrontation would be hollow. Words couldn't undo the months of betrayal, the secret texts, the stolen moments. Instead, I made a choice that I had resisted for too long. To leave, to reclaim my dignity, to preserve the part of myself that still knew what respect and trust felt like. After dinner, I left silently. She called after me, her voice trembling. I didn't answer. Walking away, the weight in my chest was crushing, yet there was a strange clarity. The life I had imagined, the perfect anniversaries and shared smiles, was gone, but I still had myself. And that, I realized, was enough to start again. In the weeks that followed, I grieved quietly, reliving memories that now felt tainted, mourning the person I thought she was, and slowly rebuilding the life I deserved. I allowed myself to remember to love, but I also let go of the illusion. I learned, painfully, that self-respect is stronger than nostalgia, that honesty is more valuable than comfort, and that sometimes the bravest act of love is walking away. I will never forget the way she laughed that night, introducing him as if I were nothing. But I will also never forget the quiet strength I found in silence, in choosing myself over betrayal, in reclaiming a life that was truly mine. The heartbreak was immense, but the freedom that came afterward was even greater.